Right, okay, here we go. Another video of Production Line. I'm the designer and coder of Production Line. We're doing these videos every week, and I can't even keep track of what number this is. Anyway, lots to talk about. This looks slightly different. This is the main menu thing, which I just changed because I thought that the logo was too big. And for people that pointed it out, and yes, it has been annoying me as well, there were loads of little like white spots and funny lines, and you could see the lines at the end of the logo. And anyway, I finally found the 5 minutes to fix it. So anyway, I'm going to load up my last game, which was this one. Okay, there we go. And sort of talk about what's new and what's changed in the last week, because I do these videos every week, and a week is not a long time in programming, so it's amazing we do anything. So the last patch was kind of to balance the kind of finances and the kind of game, the sort of tycoon aspect of the game to some extent, and we haven't really managed it. It's still far too easy. But we did get some stuff done. So quite a few things actually cost more now. So scientists cost more. Scientists are the guys... where's my research? I'll just pick something. I'll come back to that in a minute. Scientists, these guys, stroking beards, they are all men at the moment. I know that. I know that. We'll change that. You have no idea how much texture memory is involved just in that stroking beard animation. Anyway, they cost a lot more. Power plants cost a lot more. I think, is it 20,000 now? Or 15,400. They used to cost 5. It's ridiculous. I might double that again, because frankly power is far too cheap. So research costs more, power costs more. A lot of the upgrades cost more, by which I mean this sort of stuff is more expensive now, which makes a lot more sense because you are adding a lot of value to a car kind of forever. Extra robots, $1,800. I don't know how much an industrial robot is, but they're more than that, aren't they? So I should change that. And anyway, there's a load of fixes that went in to do with conveyor belts. You know, it used to be an exercise in complete futility to set up a T-junction. Now it mostly works. Stuff like that mostly works. Even this test case, which someone demonstrated to me, now works, and it used to not work. There's still a few situations in which it doesn't, and it's just a nightmare. I'll fix it at some point. Okay, so what else have we done? Yeah, component prices change over time. They never used to. We used to have this this graph here, and it used to be all over the place. Now they do actually respond to how much you use, to some extent, and the idea here is if you suddenly start fitting an enormous number of aircon units, then the price of that should kind of go up as the air conditioning suppliers, as a kind of you know, other car companies are also using the same people, and over the long run what this should do is encourage you to, hey, I'm going to make my own components. It doesn't happen to resources. The price of steel, where's steel? The price of steel won't go up. Although it may do with global events if we introduce random events. So that has changed. Something else that's changed that I can't really show to you is the attractiveness of features, but I can demonstrate. If you look here, this is just like a very basic car. It's just the axle and the you know, the bottom bits. I don't know the terms. How am I doing a car game? Anyway, the basic value there is $15,520. So that's a basic car with nothing. Now they'll all be that because it's assumed that, you know, they'll all end up with those features. If I pick a later car, yeah, so we've got electric windows and sat nav on that car, but the value of the basic car is still $15,520. Now, when you first start the game, it's $16,000, and that will decrease over time as cars get better, effectively. And I fixed a bug there where that window actually resizes. Quite proud of that. Cars get better over time, so whereas with a Model T Ford, you'd be happy that it just went forwards and backwards. Ah! You didn't see that. You know, these days, if a car doesn't have, you know, electric windows, some people get annoyed. So basically, the value of all features will go down over time. And we know that's the case. If you want to buy a semi-autonomous car right now, you can get a Tesla that's like partially self-driving, but you pay through the nose for it. And eventually that will just be, you know, an extra $100 or whatever, I'm sure, in the far future. So we have that in there as a mechanic, and I think that's quite handy, because what it means is you can't just sit there and churn out cheap cars forever, because eventually those cars are going to be worth less as people look at them and go, well, I'm not paying more than $10,000 for a car that doesn't have sat-nav and that doesn't have this and doesn't have that. So that's a new thing. It's kind of like behind the scenes, but you will see the value of each car component, each car feature, not component, will drop over time. Has it dropped again? 15,000. Yeah, it has. While we've been speaking. So that's in. Loans are now in. So if we go here, completely new tab. How exciting! There are 4. Okay, I'm going to pick turbocharged doodads. Oh, and I've changed that so that it's more obvious which one you're working on. Sorry, I'm rambling. We've got 4 loans here, and I've actually taken out 3 of them, and the 4th one is available if I want it. Loans are a completely new thing. They're quite a standard thing in business games, in tycoon games, but I'm interested to know what people think of them. Now, because the game works on a kind of funny sort of time period where, you know, a minute is effectively a day, we talk about hourly repayments and hourly interest because we have this clock up here that's doing things in hours. The whole thing about time in the game is kind of weird. It's a very difficult thing to sort of fix as a designer, but we hope it kind of makes sense here. And one of the ideas that someone had on the forums, which was very helpful, was to set the level of the loan based on the value of your company. So when banks come along and say, oh, okay, here's a new loan we'll offer you, they first of all look at all of the slots and all of the cars in your factory, and they go, yeah, that company has a net worth of whatever, and then they'll give you some fraction or multiple of that as a loan, with a corresponding interest rate and kind of term. So that's in there now, and if I click on expenses, you can see in the last hour I paid that much in debt interest and that much in repayment. And people are slightly shocked that interest can be more than repayments at the start of a loan period. All I will say to you people is you have not had a mortgage yet, because that's common. They don't break it down for you unless you ask them, generally, because nobody likes to realise that when you're paying off a huge house loan that it's mostly interest. It's outrageous, really. But it's just the way, you know, interest works over a long period. So, but that will flip because you're only paying interest on the amount that is outstanding. So it's not as bad as it sounds. Obviously, I want feedback from you lovely players of the game. Sort of say loans are rubbish, I never bother, or loans just crush me, or they're not enough money, or I don't understand this user interface, Cliff, it's shit. Whatever. Fine. So that's stuff that has gone in recently. There's been a few other things I won't sort of bore you talking about. Stuff that I've done since then, and we only patched it yesterday, so I've been working hard. If we go here, I have a new chart for components. So, and look, you can sort it by name, and you can sort it up and down and stuff like that. I'm going to change these blue bits. So these are all the components, how much they cost. The most expensive thing right now is a panoramic sunroof at the moment. How many we're using. We use more paint than anything else, funnily enough. Because I suppose you've got 2 coats, haven't you? You've got the undercoat. I know there'd be about 20 coats in a real car factory. And also how much you've got in stockpile. Compared to how much is totally in the factory. So if I look here at like Windows, there's 55 and 43 in the stockpile. We've got 55 in the factory, 43 are in stock. I'm using 14 per hour. That just changed. So you may find this helpful to sort of realise that actually some of your supply stockpiles, you're stockpiling all this stuff faster than you need it. And actually, wow, you're using an enormous amount of this. Maybe you should have a dedicated supply stockpile somewhere. I don't know. This could be helpful to you. It might not be helpful to you. One of the things that's already been suggested is that we have a list here of how much is locally produced and how much of it is bought in. I definitely want to put that in. I just need to change a bit. So that's gone in, and that'll be in the next build. I want to fix a load of the economics stuff because it's really bodged at the moment, and you will find if you produce hundreds of cars, you can't sell them quickly enough. That side of the game is, yeah, I'm not happy with that, and we're definitely going to change that. So don't worry about it. That will be fixed pretty soon. Basically, there's a lot of hangover from people who started save games really early. Oh, what's happened? Wow, look, I found a bug. Because I've never left that window open that long. Better close that. Oh yeah, this is another thing. I know that's a bug there. That it actually scrolls the R&D window to where you were last. You wouldn't believe how helpful that is. Only took 5 minutes. So what was I going to talk about? Yeah, I really need to fix that stuff. A lot of it is a hangover from if you had an earlier game where the game was far too easy and you had like 300 cars here in the sales thing, and now you can't sell them because you swamped the market. If you start a new game, that will not be as easy to do. So it's sort of fixed, but we're going to fix it properly. We're going to sort of redo that whole area of the game a little bit. I thought I'd fixed that. I don't know what's causing. That's annoying me. That's about it for this week. We get hardly any press about this game. Press aren't interested. I know it's only an alpha, and most of the press will only cover it when it goes into early access, because when it's on Steam, the press get free copies. So we're kind of selling entirely on word of mouth. And it's going quite well, but we really do appreciate all of the word of mouth stuff. So if you're on Twitter or you're on Facebook or Reddit or some forums or whatever, you know, we do appreciate it when people like mention the game and say, have you seen this game, or and you know that you recommend it, or people might be interested or whatever. That kind of stuff is really helpful for indie game developers, especially because there are so many indie games right now and the press are kind of swamped. So getting people to write about a press release about your game is very hard, especially if it's in alpha or early access, because we all know so many games, they go into like early access and then the developers get offered a job or something and like it just dies a death. I've been making games for 19 years, so that's not going to happen to me. And I've got loads of shipped games, so people know that. But anyway, getting press about these things is quite hard, so we really appreciate any sort of mention that we get anywhere, so thank you for that. Also, we have these polls that we do every 2 weeks, and look, auto scroll, saying what do you want me to work on next, and I sort of half stick to it. I try to 100% stick to it, but some things are easier to do than others. Some things I get by email which don't show up there. But there's a poll on our forums. You can find the link on the main page, the main screen of the game. So I'm going to change that in a minute, actually, while this uploads. So please go and vote there. Anyway, ramble. Thank you for watching, and there'll be another video next week, and then we're probably going to skip one because I'll be at GDC. This is Production Line by Positech Games. It's an alpha. It's currently $11. Thanks.